Hello, I'm Frank Hanaway and welcome to Big Journey, Small Steps. I hope you're not alarmed by the title. My mother is not under full care from hospice and we're not at the end of life, but I've gotten some information, I've taken some steps. I thought it might be helpful to someone else if they see the video or if you know somebody and you want to tell them. So when my doctor and I were talking a few months ago about just exactly what the plan was going to be in terms of what sort of things we were going to treat my mother for and what we were not going to treat her for. And right away we were having this discussion, and what I really like about my doctor is he always says both sides, and I'm strong about these things, so it doesn't bother me to talk about death. It bothers me more to avoid talking about it because sometimes you end up unprepared when you need to be the most prepared. So we went over a number of things, and I said, well, we want to keep her comfortable. And I said, so I suppose anything that would make her uncomfortable, we will treat it, like a virus or something like that. So he said at the time, well, we don't have to treat those things. And I said, well, how would we make her comfortable? And he said, well, you can enlist this hospice to help you, and they will come in and make sure that she's not suffering to the best of anybody's ability. So as things have started to progress, and things are not very good this week, she is having trouble with my name. She knows who I am, but she's having trouble with my name. And she asked me yesterday if my name was Henry. And so anyway, that's part of it. She's with a walker now. It turned out that the fall she had, we're not sure if she broke anything or not. And we ended up having x-rays this week. But right now we haven't gotten the results. I'll probably get them tomorrow. So about a month ago, when I noticed things were getting worse, I thought, well, maybe it's time to talk to hospice and see. And what I really wanted was to have our information on record with hospice. And I wanted them maybe to check on us once in a while. And that is exactly what hospice is going to do. So they came and evaluated her, and I knew, and they knew, that she's got a ways to go, a long way to go before we're at the end of life. And I just told them what I just said to you, that I would like to, and they said, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we'd like to do. So they're going to call me every 2 weeks and check on her. And now all my information is in the system. So when I need them, I can get them in a heartbeat. Now, I want to go on with this a little bit because some people who are more experienced have talked to me, and I've had home health care for my mother twice. Once when after she came home from the hospital and a Crohn's disease flare up, and then last year after she broke her arm and had surgery. And while it is certainly more convenient to have that if it's difficult to get your patient to the doctor and you need to be monitoring things, like at the time she was on Coumadin, her INR levels needed to be checked all the time and so forth and so on. So now she's not on Coumadin, so we wouldn't have that. But there were a number of things, and they would come to the house and they would do occupational therapy, they would do physical therapy, which was very good. The downside of it is, for most of us, it's pretty invasive. You don't quite know when they're going to come. We had a problem last year. I have a new doctor now, and we won't have this problem again. But we had trouble with the doctor's office not wanting to interact with the nursing care, or I don't know if not wanting, they just didn't. They didn't answer calls. They didn't prescribe medication after we got test results. It was very difficult and it was very frustrating. So now we have a little bit different situation. But what happens once they do start coming is that, first of all, whoever comes, they'll have a nurse practitioner or somebody that will come in and do vitals and things like that. And then they'll have somebody else that checks on this and somebody else checks on that. And then somebody else that comes that checks on all of it. So you're sitting there waiting for people to come. Most of them are extraordinarily wonderful people and they come when they say they're going to come, but you know how that is. It's not as bad as a service call from your cable provider, but it is a little bit inconvenient. So I don't want to start that prematurely. Also, we don't need them right now. Since I have Janet and Janet can come and mom's comfortable with her, once you get into this outside care, I don't know how it will be with hospice. We had some people that were the same all the time, but our nurse kept changing. And then every time the nurse would come, you would have to go through the whole story again, and I get tired of the story. So anyway, the reason that hospice can go ahead and put us on the books is that Alzheimer's is a terminal illness. It definitely leads to the end of your life, but because it can last so many years, I think we're somewhere close to 10 years when I look back and no, it's just my mother's so strong and so stubborn. She just pushed her way through a lot of things for a long time. So, anyways, because Alzheimer's is terminal, they will put you on the books, and then you can just call them. And I could call them today. We have lost some ground since she was evaluated. I don't know what would change. We're starting to see loss of appetite. Like I say, she's having trouble with people. Her short-term memory is minuscule if it works at all. It's so funny about the brain because sometimes things will sink in. It was not a lot of trouble to get my mother to start using the walker. She was ready for it. And that's been something I've done all along that I'm really look back and go, those were good decisions. Like with the money and everything else, I was able to, and you're not always able, but I was able to wait until my mother showed me that she needed help and that she knew and that she knew she needed help. And therefore, it's all worked out kind of like clockwork. Anyway, that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for spending time with me. Go hug a loved one. You don't know how long they'll know who you are. So anyway, as I love to say, and I really mean, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you peace and joy.